Well, good morning, children. Today we are going to learn uh, about class 10 science, chapter 14, sources of energy. So, in the last module, last four modules, we learned about light. So, that's a part of physics, and now this module we are going to learn about something about environmental science. Module number 5. So, sources of energy. So, in this chapter, there are mainly two types of energy discussed. Number one is conventional sources of energy, and most of the conventional sources of energy are non-renewable source of energy. So, today we're going to have an introduction on sources of energy, and then we'll go into the first type, conventional source of energy. So, when you talk about source of energy, I like to say the ultimate source is sun, because the sunlight coming to the earth, absorbed by green plants, and then converted it into food particle or its own body, which is being used by other animals and even human beings. And we learn about fossil fuels and diesel, petrol, coal, natural gas, and LPG, so on. So all these things actually they are actually dead remains of plants and animals, and these plants and animals, they themselves got energy from the sun. So the ultimate source of energy is sun. Now we are going to discuss about the different small sources of energy available on the earth, and why we are going to discuss about all these things, because there are different forms of energy, and energy, but the energy by itself can neither be created nor be destroyed. So इस दुनिया में जो एनर्जी है वो उतना ही है. Our population is increasing, the demand for energy is increasing, but actually the energy is not increasing. The energy is the same. But one form of energy can be converted into another form. So we have to discuss about various forms of energy and what are the good source of uh, them. So that is what we are going to learn right now. What are the characteristics of a good source of energy? Characteristics of a good source of energy. Characteristics of a good source of energy. The number one characteristics must be, it must be easily available. And the number two characteristics, it must give you a large amount of work per unit volume. So, large amount of work per unit volume. Large amount of work per unit volume. And then it must be easy to store and transport. Easy to store and transport. So it must be easily availably accessible, and large amount of work per unit volume it must yield, and then it must be easy to store and transport, and it must be cheap, means economical. So these are the few important characteristics of a good source of energy. And when we talk about a good fuel, good source of energy, and when we talk about a good fuel, what must be the characteristics of a good fuel? So good fuel also has similar characteristics but little bit different. The number one is large amount of work per unit volume. We call it as calorific value, high calorific value. Means when we burn 1 kg of that particular fuel, it must yield more heat to us. So less fuel is more heat, means that is a very good ideal fuel. And then it must not produce pollution, it must produce harmful gases. So yeah, it must produce very less pollution. So no pollution, that must be one of the criteria for selecting a good fuel. And then it must be economical, of course. If it is so costly, then we common people cannot afford. And then more it must not yield residues, उसमें कुछ ज़्यादा बचा हुआ नहीं होना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आप गैस को जलाते हैं तो उसमें कुछ बचता नहीं है, लेकिन अगर आप लकड़ी को जलाते हैं तो राख बच जाती है. सो गैस लकड़ी से बेटर फ्यूल हम फिर गैस लिक्विड पेट्रोलियम गैस एलपीजी को मानते हैं. सो नो रेसिड्यू. And then it must be easily available, one of this, easily available. And also you can add one more thing, it must be easy to store and transport. तो store करना और transport करना भी easy होना चाहिए. So few things are very common here, most of things are common here, but extra one thing is here, no pollution and no residue. So other things are common to the good sources of energy. Okay, so we can mainly divide this entire topic, source of energy, into two subtopics. That is, conventional means type of energy we are talking about, conventional source of energy, and non-conventional source of energy. So the next topic is type of the source of energy, classification. So majorly we are going into two types. One is conventional source of energy, and non-conventional source of energy. So most of the conventional source of energy are non-renewable, but it does not mean it is not renewable. Conventional means that we are using long years before we started using, and still now we are using it. And non-conventional source of energy means we just started to use it, and it is not common, but this is very common. So today we are going to discuss about conventional sources of energy. So the first conventional source is the fossil fuel. What are the fossil fuels? Number one is fossil fuel. Okay, coal, petroleum, और ये पेट्रोलियम का प्रोडक्ट्स है एक्चुअली, पेट्रोल, डीजल, LPG, and natural gas is different. So actually this coal, petroleum and natural gas are the dead remains of plants and animals, and millions of years ago they got buried in the mud, and the slow decomposition, by slow decomposition this coal, petroleum and natural gas were formed. So this fossil fuel is a conventional source because we run the industries, we run the vehicles by this fossil fuels. So most of the industries are run by coal. The Indian energy requirement is 60% of the energy is obtained from coal only. So let's go to the limitations of this. Okay, what are the limitations of this fossil fuel? So today we are learning only about this conventional source of energy. So what are the limitations of fossil fuel? So the number one limitation is they are non-renewable. Means someday they will get exhausted. And number two is very few places are there, means they are limited resources. They have limited reserves. Yeah, reservoirs. So limited places are there where we get this, and they cause pollution. So fossil fuel, they cause pollution. We already know that in the fossil fuel, carbon is there, so carbon dioxide is produced, which is a greenhouse gas, cause global warming. And also other than carbon, there are nitrogen and sulfur and oxides of this, which are actually acidic in nature, and it causes acid rain, and even it causes pollution to the land and water. So but we can somehow control the less emission of this carbon dioxide and all by increasing the efficiency of the combustion of these gases, of these fossil fuels. So if it is not completely burnt, then it produces more pollution. But if it is completely burned or efficiently burned, then it produces less pollution. But still it produces pollution तो करते हैं, लेकिन उसको कम कर सकते हैं अगर आप थोड़ा efficiently इसको burn करेंगे, completely इसको burn करेंगे. So that's all about fossil fuels. And the second thing is the thermal power plant. So the number one conventional source of energy is fossil fuel. Conventional source of energy. And the number two is thermal power plant. So thermal power plant is one of the source of energy from where we get electrical energy. But this electrical energy still it is obtained from fossil fuel only, because the fossil fuels are burned in thermal power plants to generate steam, and the steam goes to the turbines and it rotates the turbine. The kinetic energy of the steam helps to rotate the turbines, and then it produces turbines of big generators, and then it produces electricity, and it is supplied through transmission lines. And the third one is the hydro power plants. What do you mean by hydro power plants? Hydro means water. So using water, we are producing power, we are producing electricity. So this is one of the source, but here you have to make big dams and collect water. You make big reservoirs of water, and then this water is taken to the potential energy of the water at a height is converted into electrical energy with the help of the same turbines, which is planted already at the lower part of the dams. But here is a big problem of making dams. So there are big limitations here. So the limitations are that dams are constructed not everywhere, and a very specific places are there where dams can be constructed. And the second thing is the construction of dams cause destruction of lot of vegetation and human habitation, and it also cause destruction of biodiversity. Even the plantation vegetation जो पानी के अंदर चला जाता है, क्योंकि एक बार डैम बना दे तो उसमें पानी का हाइट बढ़ता जाता है, तो पानी के अंदर बहुत सारे वेजिटेशन चले जाते हैं एंड दोज वेजिटेशंस विल रॉट, वो सड़ने लगते हैं और सड़ के और उसके अंदर से मीथेन गैस, लॉट ऑफ मीथेन गैस प्रोड्यूस होता है विच इज अगेन ए ग्रीन हाउस गैस, और जो कि हमारी एनवायरनमेंट को नुकसान करेंगे। ये जो मीथेन गैस है ये ग्लोबल वार्मिंग और ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट को कॉज करता है और ग्लोबल वार्मिंग के लिए कारण बनता है। सो दैट इज वन ऑफ द लिमिटेशंस ऑफ दिस making of large dams. And also so these are actually the environmental problems, I should say, and the economical problem is a lot of money is wasted in making dams. So that is another economical problem, and the social problem is human habitation and is destroyed, and they are not adequately given proper place to live in them. So when you are making dam, a lot of people are removed, vacated from there, and they are given some other place which is not fit for them even. So there is no adequate replacement for them. So that's all about hydropower plants, and the energy conversion here is the potential energy of water at a height is converted into electrical energy, mechanical energy and of the turbine, and then it is converted into electrical energy. So short form we can say that potential energy of water stored at a height is converted into electrical energy, and then it is supplied through transmission lines. So the electrical energy is a easy energy to supply or even run our houses, run our fans, lights and ACs and all day to day life में जो भी चीज की जरूरत होता है वो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी से ही चलता है। सो अधिकतर हम हर एनर्जी को किस में कन्वर्ट करने का कोशिश करता है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी में कन्वर्ट करने की कोशिश करता है। सो दीज आर द थ्री मेन कन्वेंशनल सोर्सेस which we are right now using, and so now the improvements in the conventional sources. So instead of fossil fuel we have nowadays biomass, something called biomass. So what are the improvements? So now we are going to discuss improvements in the conventional sources. Number one is biomass. So what is biomass actually? You have heard about charcoal, biogas. So the remains of plants is converted into a proper fuel. So how it is, if you burn wood in the limited supply of oxygen, then it becomes a better fuel called charcoal, because it it does not have then water content, so it causes very less pollution then. And the other one is biogas. So decomposing cow dung and vegetations and all in the absence of oxygen in a digestive tank, and it will produce a gas, and 75% of the gas has actually methane. So it is a very good fuel. The advantage are it burns without flame, without smoke, and there is very less residue there is no residue for biogas. Okay, so even there's a diagram given in your textbook for a biogas plant. So you might have seen a biogas plant. It has a inlet and an outlet, and then a digester tank, and a pipe outside a pipe connection will take the gas out, and there is a stopper or whatever to control. And then here is actually an inlet which So here is soil, and this is also soil. So here is, fertilizer come out. Fertilizer. So there is a diagram given in your textbook, so you can follow the diagram. And first of all, you have to add the cow dung and water, and we call it a slurry, into this digester tank, and it gets filled with the slurry, and then after few days it starts decomposing in the absence of oxygen or in the limited supply of oxygen, and then methane gas is formed, which is taken out through the pipe for cooking and other purposes, and whatever is left, that is also a very good manure, fertilizer. So you are getting fuel and you are getting fertilizer. So there is an outlet here, and from here you can get the fertilizer. So that's a diagram given in your textbook, so you go through the diagram and learn it properly. So that is what biomass improvements in conventional sources. And we have wind energy also, because in the all earlier times we have windmills. Wind energy is used for pumping water in the earlier times, but now we have a modified version of that, that is like a big fan like thing, a generator which looks like a fan. So there are several generators which is implanted. So this windmills are actually now big fan like things which generate electricity. So what are the advantage of this windmills, wind energy? So advantage is they are environment friendly because they are not causing any pollution. Another thing is they are renewable source of energy, because always whenever the sunlight comes to the earth, एक जगह ज़्यादा गर्म हो रहा है, एक जगह कम गर्म हो रहा है, तो उनके बीच में प्रेशर का डिफरेंस है, तो विंड फ्लो होती है. तो विंड फ्लो होने से और हम उसको एनर्जी को इस तरह हार्नेस कर सकते हैं, और एनर्जी को हम विंड मिल्स के द्वारा और उसको हार्नेस कर सकते हैं. सो उसका लिमिटेशन ये है कि there are very limited actually sites where wind energy farms can be established, because wind energy farms के लिए कम से कम 15 किलोमीटर पर आवर स्पीड में अगर विंड बहता है कोई इलाके में, कोई जगह पे, तो वहीं आप इसको एस्टैब्लिश कर सकते हैं, तभी आपको कंसिडरेबल एनर्जी मिलेगा. एंड large area is required for it, that's another limitation. And the tower and the blades fan like thing है, तो blades require very high level of maintenance, क्योंकि moving parts है तो इनको maintenance की जरूरत पड़ता है. So that's all about the conventional source of energy. So today we learned about 3 conventional source of energy: fossil fuels, thermal power plant and hydro power plants. And the improvements in that is biomass, charcoal and biogas is there, and there's a biogas production. For that there's a special system, even in the villages it is available. And another one is the wind energy. Wind energy is harnessed by using windmills, where wind energy farms, where big fan rotating generators are there. They rotate with the help of wind. So on these topics I have prepared 26 questions for you, so you'll try to answer these 26 questions. So whatever we have learned today, these things actually you were learning even from class 6 in the EVS, environmental science. So these are very common thing for us. So it is very easy to understand, and read through the textbook and try to answer the 26 questions given in the video as a homework for